A quiet Arkansas community was left stunned after a tragic discovery inside a family home. A 40-year-old mother and her two young children were found dead just one day after she attended her final divorce hearing. At first, investigators were unsure exactly what had happened. But as evidence began to surface, authorities would uncover a heartbreaking series of events that had unfolded behind closed doors. Autopsy results would eventually reveal the disturbing truth. This is the tragic case of Charity Beallis and her two young children. Charity Beallis was a 40-year-old mother living in Bonanza, Arkansas, a small town in Sebastian County. Friends and neighbors described her as a devoted parent who cared deeply for her children. She had two young kids, both around 6 years old at the time of the tragedy. Like many families, the Beallis household had experienced difficulties in recent years. Charity and her husband had been going through a difficult separation. The couple had married in 2015, but their relationship had eventually broken down. By early 2025, they had stopped living together. What followed was a long and emotional divorce and custody battle that would ultimately end in tragedy. Court records show that the divorce between Charity and her estranged husband had become increasingly tense. Custody of the children was a central issue in the case. In March of 2025, Charity reportedly filed legal documents requesting full custody of the children. She also asked the court for a protective order for herself and the children. According to the documents, she claimed her husband had previously been arrested and charged with domestic violence. Authorities had charged him with aggravated assault involving a family member and other related offenses. Eventually, he pleaded guilty to a third-degree battery charge and received a suspended sentence. Despite these events, the divorce proceedings continued through the year. On December 2, 2025, Charity Beallis attended the final hearing in the divorce case. The court was expected to finalize decisions regarding custody and other legal matters. During the hearing, the judge ordered that the couple begin joint custody of their children. According to investigators, Charity had reportedly hoped that reconciliation with her estranged husband might still be possible. However, that did not happen. The hearing marked the final step in the divorce process. No one in the courtroom that day could have imagined what would happen only hours later. The following morning, on December 3, 2025, deputies from the Sebastian County Sheriff's Office received a request for a welfare check. Concerned individuals had been unable to reach Charity or the children. Deputies traveled to the family's home in Bonanza, Arkansas. When officers arrived at the residence, they entered the home and made a horrifying discovery. Inside, they found the bodies of Charity Beallis and her two children. All three had suffered gunshot wounds. The tragic discovery shocked investigators and the local community. Authorities immediately began a full investigation. Investigators worked quickly to determine what had happened inside the home. One of the first questions they needed to answer was whether someone else had entered the house. However, early evidence raised important clues. The home security system had been manually turned off the night before. Investigators discovered that Charity had exclusive access to the system through her phone. Records showed the alarm had been deactivated around 10 p.m. Investigators also confirmed that no doors or windows had been forced open. This suggested that whoever committed the crime had access to the home. Authorities also investigated the whereabouts of Charity's estranged husband. Using phone records and vehicle data, investigators determined that he was not near the residence on the night the tragedy occurred. Officials reported that his Tesla vehicle was nowhere near the home. Additionally, his phone did not connect to cell towers near the property that night. These findings suggested he was not present at the scene. Autopsies were conducted by the Arkansas State Crime Lab. The results revealed devastating findings. Authorities determined that both children had died by homicide. Investigators concluded that Charity Beallis had shot her children before taking her own life. The tragedy occurred shortly after the final divorce hearing. The findings confirmed what investigators had begun to suspect during the early stages of the investigation. The deaths of Charity Beallis and her two young children left the small community of Bonanza grieving. Neighbors and residents struggled to understand how such a tragedy could happen. Cases like this highlight the emotional strain that family conflicts and custody battles can sometimes bring. Domestic disputes can become incredibly complex and emotionally overwhelming. Experts often stress the importance of mental health support during difficult life transitions, such as divorce and custody disputes. If you or someone you know is experiencing domestic violence or emotional distress, reaching out to support organizations or trusted individuals can make a critical difference. Thank you for watching. For more real true crime stories and investigations, subscribe to Love Gone Wrong.